Hello, I'm Richard Hooper and I'm here at IBC where I'm pleased to be joined by Anirban Chakraborty of Comtech. Anirban, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you, Richard. Thank you for having me.
Now, we've spoken before and we spoke about EVOKE. Let's start with an update.
Since the last time, I think we have made a whole lot of updates, progresses. I want to take this opportunity and thank our EVOKE partners on our networks, Vishnish, Descartes Lab Governments, and of course, Circle. The last time we spoke about how our partners are contributing towards this ecosystem. And since then, we have been able to flush out a whole lot of, I would say, minimum viable products that are demonstratable that we have taken to few of our customers today. Case in point being, and I'll tell you, we spoke about connectivity solutions, right? So at the base, Comtech is talking about terrestrial and non-terrestrial networks. But most importantly, what we have done is able to stitch up a layer of business process, or let's say outcomes, that we have been able to demonstrate that are consumable by various industries. Case in point being smart agriculture. We were able to demonstrate that using our IoT solutions from Circle, we were able to create not only just real-time aspects around what smart agriculture could be, but also take data processing and analytics from Descartes Labs Government and speak about what can be a predictive yield, for example, in a smart agriculture ecosystem. And again, at the backbone, we were using terrestrial and non-terrestrial communication to suck up all of this information, right? Which is exceptionally important for our existing customer base. So EVOKE has since then progressed quite a bit. We used Vishnish's distributed ledger ecosystem to demonstrate cryptographically secured data exchange between various parties, again in this smart. We were able to talk about smart manufacturing, and I was happy to notice and I'm happy to share with you, Richard, that it was immense because we were the first customer ourselves. So we did it in our Chandler facility, which is a manufacturing hub for most of our digital products from Comtech, and we were able to demonstrate that how Circle's IoT mesh technology was helping us to create a smart manufacturing quote unquote ecosystem around this. So exceptional progress since the time we spoke, Richard, last time, and I'm happy to report some of these updates back to you.
Now, Comtech can't stand still. You made an announcement yesterday, a dynamic cloud platform. What is it? What does it do?
So before I tell you what dynamic cloud platform is, I have to tell you why dynamic cloud platform, because then it starts to make a whole lot of sense. As you know, we are buzzing with this industry transformation around virtualization, cloud adoption, cloud agnostic. These are while these are great keywords or buzzwords, for us it means a whole lot more. Our virtualization journey started in the terrestrial segment of our business years ago. As you can see in the press release yesterday, what we have done is we have repurposed our dynamic cloud platform for the SatCom world. Now, what is our virtualization strategy in the SatCom side? Let's understand that a little bit so that dynamic cloud platform, or DCP, will then make a whole lot of sense to answer your question. Our virtualization strategy is not just about, hey, is there a modem that is virtualized? In simple terms, virtualization means that you shift yourself away from proprietary hardware and start offering your solution on a commercially off-the-shelf or COTS hardware, similar to an x86 platform running, let's say, on a Dell or an HP hardware server. But it's not just that. It's not just about, hey, let's take a modem from a proprietary hardware to a COTS platform. There is a whole lot of other things which is happening. For example, when we offer this solution, which is virtualized modem, to our customer, what is their targeted infrastructure? Do they have a private cloud? Do they have a public cloud enabled by one of the major hyperscalers? Or do they go in a hybrid cloud environment? So that's the first thing. Secondly, how are they going to disaggregate this said modem? Is it going to run on 100% commercial off the shelf, or let's say in the last mile, or on after the edge, or let's say what people like to call it, the L1 or the layer 1 physical, is it still going to have a little bit of proprietary hardware? We had to keep all of these things in mind. And last but not the least, let's not forget the basic objective of virtualization. It is reduction in CapEx, reduction in OpEx, or in other words, as the industry says, total cost of ownership, or TCO reduction. In order to achieve all of this, one has to think about life cycle management, or as we call it, LCM, orchestration. How are we orchestrating this whole thing? It is not just about, remember, satellite orchestration. It is all about the infrastructure and the service orchestration, and satellite orchestration is just a part of it. Here comes Comtech's DCP, which enables, or let's say ties up all of these things. So at one hand, DCP will obviously host this soft modem, which the industry calls a VNF or a CNF. It disaggregates it. But so at the southbound interface of the DCP, we have kept it cloud agnostic. Why is that important? It is important for our customer ecosystem so that they are able to deliver the same modem software to various cloud infrastructure. Back in February, I would like to point you out, you would notice that we released a PR, a press release, wherein we said our DCP now is integrated with Microsoft Azure Operator Nexus, wherein we have enabled DCP to work with Microsoft. Right now we are working towards other hyperscalers, we are working towards other private cloud instances in the MNOs globally where DCP is already in production. So the advantage we are first bringing to the satellite operators is, please do not worry about the underlying cloud infrastructure. We have got that covered. Now what does that enable is, now OEMs or other third-party application providers now come and install their applications on top of DCP, rather, instead of natively getting into the cloud infrastructure. That gives them low cost. They don't have to completely churn their software or the application every time they go to a different cloud. So that's the number one. Secondly, like I said, now not only we enable our products to get into the DCP, we also enable back-end services in terms of messaging, in terms of EMS to OSS abstraction. That's again the abstraction DCP provides. So again, it's a reduction in your time to market. Last but not the least, the ability to orchestrate this, whether you are doing native Kubernetes, whether you are doing OpenShift, whether you're doing Tanzu, all of these various things come as a part of the whole DCP concept. So it's a game changer in our viewpoint in terms of ability of a satellite operator to quickly integrate various multi-party or let's say multi-vendor environment and be able to orchestrate that. So it is a big step in terms of reduction in CapEx, obviously, but it also management of life cycle, or in other words, reduction in OpEx. So that's a very, I know it's a loaded answer, but it's a summary of what DCP provides to our satellite ecosystem.
Now, one of the things you mentioned was off the shelf. Now, are there any dangers to off-the-shelf equipment because of security?
It is cyber security, obviously. So we will have to be, and especially for our MIL standards, as they call it. Obviously, TransSec is, or transmission security is definitely something which we will have to keep in mind. And it has been taken care of. So TransSec does become a layer in terms of transmission. And we are working, again, I go back to our EVOKE ecosystem, where we are bringing in aspects about how do you enable these kind of cybersecurity compliances when it comes to this. Yes, it is definitely a security concern when you suddenly move out from a proprietary hardware to off-the-shelf platform. But we are taking necessary steps to ensure that TransSec or transmission security is definitely one thing we offer to them. Yeah.
So how was the DCP announcement received in the market?
I think it is well received. Besides the PR that we did yesterday, we have been talking about DCP, its architecture, to our customer segments. And when I say customer segments, I really want to point out about our satellite customer segments. We have opened up this concept as our satellite customers are beginning their journey towards getting into cloud, embracing cloud. We have opened up this discussion to a whole lot of our customers before even making the PR. So I think it's very positive. I'm very encouraged with the kind of reactions I have received, both electronically and in person.
Now, you mentioned when you were explaining a little bit more about it, CAPEX, cost reduction. That's massive at the moment with the way the economies around the world are going.
Yes.
What is that going to give your customers? How much of a change are they going to see using DCP?
I do not know if there is a specific answer that can be quantified about it, right? Because this is just not a reduction in TCO, but it is also a step towards offering new business models. Remember that when we disaggregate this, the reduction in CAPEX obviously is drastic, because suddenly you are not spending money towards those costly processing engines. You have suddenly moved towards COTS hardware. So that's one. And again, the reason it is not quantifiable in a simple sense is because we are yet to see, how many modems, how many infrastructures, especially from the hub side, can we quickly move towards it. But more importantly, it gives them the ability to suddenly slice their services now. Earlier, one network fits all. So whether our customers were giving a broadband service or they are giving an IoT only service, that used to define the network composition. But with DCP, you suddenly start to embrace third-party ecosystem, in which you suddenly will start seeing that consumption-based models, or as people call them, as a service model, will suddenly start to come up. And that's where the OPEX or the CAPEX composition starts to come in and play very, very handy. New business models, if our customers are able to provide such new business models, then the whole composition of cost versus revenue also changes drastically, right?
So finally, would you describe it as a game changer for the market?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think it is definitely a game changer, not from the perspective of just being able to break down a product and offer it in a virtualized way, but also giving them a platform in which they can bring other third-party ecosystem to create a catalog of services. So now we will enable our customers not only just as a communication provider, but actually a service provider. So it's definitely a game changer at the end of the day.
Anirban, thank you very much for talking to me.
My pleasure, Richard. Good to see you. Thank you for giving me the time.